tax prices dissat. Then it's going to be the counter plan, and case is going to be at the top right after the overview. Pretty much.
Can you do that one more time?
Sure. It's going to be an overview. Then it's going to be the case. Then it's going to be racism, which is the case.
Okay.
Then it's going to be legitimacy.
I'm also not sure that description is real helpful.
Tax prices. Counter plan. Move this over here. All right, sweet.
You need to know what you're voting for. It doesn't do enough impact analysis to tell you that you're going to prefer the two add-ons, which is counterplan won't solve or outweigh the dissents. The first judicial signals are going to short-circuit over their impact being the world war economy. Bad future security is going to be inevitable. But thanks to other arguments, the reason why the counterplan doesn't solve it is because figures judicial enforcement rights is crucial. Investment enforcing rights is the only reliable thing investors that the courts will uphold the rights of prevent expropriation because of politically costly investors have a stable indicator that the courts are independent. That's our program. And this impacts the global economic collapse because investment is the key to dollar preventing a chain reaction in the crisis of the global economy. That's the way it happens. This outweighs because a magnitude of desperation and economic collapse leads to conflict that will rapidly escalate. That's severe and having treaties will draw nation WDs will destroy civilization, causing each single only a scenario for how conflict occurs. Peacetime is the tiebreaker, the scenario from when the democracy solves conflict and sees the terms of the argument to be spreading democracy is impossible in the conflict in the world, and their internal link for food security is all depends on economic collapse, turns the impact collapse, and inevitable possible scenario for famine in the U.S. don't weigh their impact or in terms of rights because those aren't possible to recognize. Secondly, is the school choice add-ins that the Crown Plan control because the 14th Amendment interpretation is critical to end and make the school choice movement unconstitutional. They can't solve the terminal impact because it's based on making this movement unconstitutional. They can't solve the terminal impact because it still would be constitutional now, so it doesn't solve, which means this outweighs the racism, would outweigh the circumvention of the plan because people don't have to engage in integration because they just go to other courts and skimming. In fact, those rich white kids use these programs to apply to unregulated schools. That means you can't solve your integration. Racism would outweigh your impacts because it makes all your impacts inevitable because the other's preservation ability to discount individuals on the basis of race underlies all violence and its rooted mindset. Justifying violence being makes the impacts inevitable because every scenario for conflict relies on escalation proves that we would be exploring a bad model of democracy over impacts why it turns race more empirically denied in this. We're being though we're able to solve bad planetary probabilities when we discount individuals. We ignore we're going to nation when we include these people within our democracy and our radical democracy. We're just engage in sustainable politics and racism, which means there's no chance of your impacts are always going to default to counter and so these Adams racism. First, he says backlash, but when this links to the counterplans on you implement inter-district solution to the warrant severe cards would link back, and even if it does engage backlash, we solve our scenarios because not depend on the actual implementation of integration or the engaged backlash. So when this actually occurs, we're able to solve back, and he can see solve specific warrants that this signal solves the that's report evidence and the empirical solves the process pre-Milligan integration was overwhelmingly successful. Lower course would be able to solve back red arguments to the race evidences we transform more arguments. Also, arguments on the Bell argument also apply to this. He says we can see though it doesn't drop. He drops the money or analysis of the Pell evidence that when we engage in explicit integration as our goal, we have to question our ideas of notion who is included in that. And additionally, our Lehman evidence says that when we engage in the school, it creates spillover to broader instances because when we include people within the school system that engages the locus of civilization, we have to consider who we include in our political sphere and what our ideas of citizenship included means. We solve back all of these arguments.
Read there.
Legitimacy. At the top of legitimacy, there's no risk this would turn the dissent because we just be exploring bad model doesn't turn our scenario of labeling or leaving our warrants evidence says you need to solve the state system of labeling system, which means you can't solve this. It's just correlational, it's not causational, which is critical to actually solve race and more so if we solve the case, we solve all the reasons why this would turn the case, which means it's irrelevant without solving the case. Timeline, go to the Brown 90. This takes out all of their arguments and then he just says the Roberts is placating precedent with our evidence is specific there would be 5-4, including Roberts, but overall the Brown decision doesn't overrule it is a distinct, but it seems to be future overrules disrespect of precedent, which would trigger internal link because if they're able to overrule the Brown decision, there's nothing else that they could not overrule, even if it is with special justification would still trigger internal link, and there would be the ideas that more other decisions could engage in special justification. No reason why special justification would allow the disregarding the president and go to the modeling. There's no risk of modeling. It just says that other nations are modeling, but not the critical nations to solve for your impact or much of the evidence says that the critical countries are modeling looking to the European Union, which provides alternative model, which you can solve back for. And additionally, because Bush possibly lack incorporation of international treaties, the counterplan couldn't solve back these because of things like the death penalty means there's no chance to go to the rollback argument. You can't solve all democracy. In fact, it's inevitable because being rolled back the Financial Times has evidence transition democracy or stalling and authoritarians pushing back the key hotspots across the globe in Middle East and Asia. The one-year Financial Times evidence specifically says Middle Eastern countries are critical. So if you're back to the scenario that this evidence is describing for it means you can't access your impacts, and even then he says for Senator Justin accountability, but that's just amicus brief to tell them the court how they should decide. I mean, he said bias you should defer to our evidence, which is not biased. And also describes specific countries and how they're doing now. Their evidence is from 3 years ago, whereas ours is from 2007. Before that evidence, no risk of their decide tax prices. First, you're going to go to the 98. He just keeps disregarding this argument in the world where housing market is collapsing. People have the highest rate of being homeless in the history of America, your impact should have already occurred. That's the Baycrow 7 arguments. He just can be disregarding this because a huge portion of potential homebuyers are being excluded from the market. It's 1.1 million of potential homebuyers of a yearly 5 million, which is 1/5 of the yearly homebuyer are being tightened and squeezed out of their houses because of the collapse. And there's the highest vacancy rate. It is 40% higher than any housing slump previously, which means the plan would just be a drop in the bucket. There's no reason why we would be able to go to the sprawl argument if they can't solve integration. That means they can't solve suburban sprawl, which is critical for every type of argument. Because unless we reinvigorate the educational system, include people within the public sphere, then they were being able to be excluded all the types of sprawl within by including people with all in one tax base to solve fact all the reasons why these bad types of tax policy would be engaged in. Then go to the no impact argument and just keeps extending the price, the ability we should be able to eat food, and that's a good thing. But you're going to extend the logical would make your impact, and that's talking about developing countries. You can solve back the one of your arguments when you drops it. The American Association said that there's 4 things: there's not enough research, there's bad infrastructure, there's a decrease in crop yields, and there's climate change. We will make their impacts. And now we're going to go to Jenkins' argument. We solve their linky just as determining because you don't solve it. They want to solve the answer to this fact. Even if we don't overrule Jenkins, we make the Jenkins president unnecessary because no longer a reason to enforce magnet schools, which means magnet schools are much more expensive than busing around this. Our Griffith evidence was comparative, which means we solve back the worst instance of attack prices, which means that there's no risk of link. If anything, it's just a link trying to go into our direction. We solve back the worst instances of this type X, so there's no risk of any type of spillover. And
choice, but it's on the over.
And choice argument is on the over. He says they can solve back. There's no reason you need to make unconstitutional counterclaim. And the signal argument says status quo solves right now, but nervousness are distinguished, and the Brown just proves that they are protecting rights now, even not the critical rights. He says predictability, but that's not unique because the plan. There's no reason why the plan would be why businesses would care about our plan to be empirically denied from past overrules and over their spillover and answer the back to economies in Cuba. China isn't going to be filling in. It's going to trigger the distant impact because China isn't able to fill and produce. Our market go to the permutation captures all their assumptions. No theory, and it outweighs and it shields the legitimacy. So the reason why the courts are bad are solved back, and there's no reason because Congress Acts 2 means there's no risk of the Rosenberg because no reason why they would receive Congress over the courts and shields from their legitimacy because the Congress Acts 2.